Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 20th. It is 8:29 a.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. Roll call is Renee O'Donnell, Brian Carlisle, and Cindy Grant, all present and accounted for. Agenda adjustments. I'd like to do the discussion with the RSU number 22 first. You guys are all set with that. That's my agenda adjustment, so we can open with you guys. How are you today?
Okay, I'm well. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Okay, so I did bring material that we can discuss about the potential school closure, and I say potential because, of course, a school closure needs to go to referendum, and the results would dictate where things go next. So just to fill people in on the history, in 2015 an amendment to the school and town lease was made, which did give an option to the town of Newburgh to purchase the school once the quality school assurance bond was paid off for the energy efficient project that was done here. And that comes due on January 16th, 2022. And so we have informed the school board that in November we will be seeking a school board vote to move to close the school. And we would close the school for lack of need. And although we have pre-K here, we do have an option written into the lease that our agreement would allow a reversal, basically. We would lease space from the town. And we're here today just to answer any questions you have about moving forward. We do have an interest from the school district of getting an option on the back land of this property. And our thinking is that while at this moment we do not have intentions to build a new school in Newburgh, we are having a school enrollment census completed for the next 20 years. And as we do see growth, we would like to have an option on the backland property in case the school site was ever needed again.
Thoughts?
Well, obviously, it's going to have to go to referendum.
Right.
We'll have to have some public meetings on it, I suspect. And,
Right.
I don't feel comfortable doing too much right now without getting our costs of what we're faced with, taking over the whole building.
Right. I know we've been sharing costs, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Would we share costs? Would we share costs with them?
It just
It
flips.
would flip.
It
Okay.
would flip. Everything flips.
Okay.
So I guess my question is going to be, if this is something that the school district wants, we're going to have a lot of details for a vote come January. Because if that's the case, then we'll have to have a survey of what portion of the land the school would like to keep. And like I told you, I'm still confused on the right-of-way portion. Because if you guys want to keep a portion, then we may have to make the residents aware of that.
Yeah,
Sure.
that would be my biggest question.
Well, the other thing, and I know, I know you weren't around, Heath was, and I don't know on the building committee who's on there, but whether they are around, but when the kids left this school, it devastated this town as far as community spirit, getting it together. I would hate to see that happen again.
I know, and I for future purposes, I would hope that this location becomes our community center again. We had kind of talked about the land up back. Maybe it's the walking trails that they did in Hamden. Maybe we've got a lot of people come here to walk the yard, and maybe we've got somebody doing some walking trails up back. And that land is basically landlocked, right? You would have to go through.
We'd have to put a right-of-way into the property, and I just don't know where you would put it.
Yeah.
Because, the option of sharing this driveway with a school and a fire department and a town office, just is gonna be total chaos.
I have a question though. Why would it not make more sense for the school district to have, if you need additional space, to keep your campuses close together? I mean, I would love to see a school in our town because I remember what it did to us when it left. But it would seem to me economically, you're much better off keeping your campuses, so your structure's all right there close by.
I have to agree with you on that. I think that we have been studying a McGraw-Weatherby campus renovation, if not new construction, and our McGraw school has been rated for school construction funds. The school construction funds that are available right now will probably not be adequate to reach our project at number 20. But I think that our first goal would be to continue to have this large campus approach and build for an enrollment that is projected. I think our thoughts are really going further on. We're seeing significant subdivision development and playing this out. We don't have our enrollment census back, but if we were to see that in 15 to 20 years that we have one campus that's just not going to be sufficient, we just want to have options. But I hear you on that financial impact, and we feel the same. It actually makes sense to be on one campus.
Well, but if I could carry it to a different direction, that it would seem to me that it would be logical if a school was to come to this location, I would think this building should be it. I mean, why would we have a school structure here and then put another new school structure? And
We've discussed that as well. And I think what we were thinking is that you have an interest, of course, in moving forward with the public safety development of this campus.
Right.
And you've been generous to say that we could continue to have pre-K, and we appreciate that. So I think in our thoughts, it was that this school space would no longer be available for renovation because you would have developed it for your public safety needs.
No, public safety is, all we're gonna do at this point in time is they have an office, that back corner office, but there's a new building planned to go down in the field below the septic system.
And that brings up another real concern I have, and I think Brent brought it up quite some time ago, is that if we have emergency services here and then we have school children around, what kind of safety problems are we going to run into with, you know, the heavy trucks that may have to leave in a hurry? And
I would like to stick to the original agreement of all the land. That's what I'd really like to do, just because I think it would be really hard to build up there. I don't know how you get up there through our yard, I don't know. But for the future of Newburgh, you know, and 10 years down our road, we don't have any developments, but maybe someday we will have a development.
Maybe.
And we might need some extra space for something.
Yes.
But that land is, I feel that land is landlocked. Like I said, I'd like to see this section, this piece of town come back to the community. This was the community center when we had the kids here, really, it was. It's where everybody went to the kids, but.
How many acres are you talking behind up there? 5 acres?
So, oh, go ahead. So from my perspective, like Cindy said, I was around when we did this plan. You know, we talked about, you know, when we met, I think it was Buddy, you and I,
Yeah.
Buddy, met with Emo, and, you know, we talked about, well, is this going to be something that board at the time is on board with? And to Brian's point, you know, why would we use the school? I think that would probably be ideal, but from my point of view, so we made it was a deal that we made, and we said, and then our school board voted at that time to uphold that deal for now. So in 2015, we approved that, because we knew it was going to be a different board with different ideas. But, you know, as a community member from Newburgh, if there was ever a chance that we would require a school, I'd hate that, not be able to find some land to do it on. And I suppose we could buy some somewhere, but I want to see this, building go to the town, because that's what we decided to do in 2015. But I get exactly what you're saying, as far as it's not ideal, but I just feel like I would hate to see in 20 years, and your mind can go in a million different ways. Why would we want a school? And we probably can only dream of it at night while we're sleeping. What could happen? I mean, I think I would like to be able to have a piece of land 20 years from now that we could say if we have to have a school. I didn't think I was going to get off the North Road this morning, and then I was sitting down here at the light for like 10 minutes. I don't know what this place is going to look like in 20 years.
So, can I ask, so you said in 15, when you made the deal about the building, was there any discussion about the land up back at that point, going or staying with the school district?
I think the way it's read, then it is the property in the building. That's the way it is.
So it's already as one piece at that point?
Basically, all
Okay,
warehouse.
that's what I want to know.
As far as I'm
so.
concerned, the ball is in your court.
Right.
We're
That's-
asking you if that would be something that you'd be amenable to. Because that, as far as I'm concerned, that's what we agreed on at that time, and it's in black and white, really, that we agreed on the building and the land. And it's basically just us asking you if you'd be amenable to that.
And this is kind of a preliminary discussion, and we all realize that, I think.
Yeah.
We were going to have a public hearing in the next month or so, I believe, about, just to catch people up to date after we get our numbers on. We'd like to get our numbers on, when was the roof done and all that information, and how much does it cost, and that sort of thing. 'Cause those questions always come up, but I think I'd like a little bit more public input as well.
Yeah. And it's a hard thing, because by no means do we want it said that we're coming out here to go to school.
Right.
Because that's
Right.
not where we're at.
You don't want to promise anybody that.
No,
Well,
no.
the other thing, and I think before, if the decision is made, because it has to go to the people, we're gonna need a lot more details. If, it's not a decision they can make, but, when we go in January is the time to do this. So, we need a plan in place. What would like to be reserved, like I said, survey, right of way, what your plan is, but, I mean, myself, I
Well, I just sit here thinking, what if 10 years from now, the school had the land and said we don't need it, they sell it to somebody who
Well,
wants
that
to
would
do
definitely
something.
want to be written into that.
Right,
yes.
foolish
Yeah.
behind us, and,
That would definitely be written
that
in.
would be a big issue.
Yeah.
And I would like to propose a compromise where we make good on what the intention of the lease language is, that you take over the land, but allow us an option on the land for a certain degree of time.
That might be more amendable, I
That's
think,
what I was gonna suggest.
Okay,
Actually.
great mind.
If you put an option in there that down the road, you had first
Correct.
refusal by the school board to take the land for that reason. I
Right,
mean,
let's-
that way you
let's-
guys still have control to the land.
And I think that addresses what you've brought up today, that our intention truly is that we would develop the McGraw-Weatherby project to house an increase in
Right,
enrollment.
your existing campuses
Yes.
already.
And that if we were to come back to Newburgh about this, it would probably be because of pretty substantial swing in growth, and we would all see that coming.
Yeah.
So I think we could have good discussions, so.
Is it true that enrollment has decreased over the past 20 years?
Enrollment has decreased. Now, right now, of course, we're suffering decrease in part because of the homeschooling move with COVID. But the numbers that are going to be coming in for what is projected, I think we'll see a stabilization. And I hope people will be returning their students to school once we get past COVID. And with the increased subdivision builds, I can't believe we're not going to see an increase in enrollment. But the other thing I'd like to say, and this is stepping out a bit, but we really do have some significant plans for increasing achievement in our school district, offering some programs that would really develop aptitudes of students, like we see at UTC, you've done it around trades and other career opportunities besides just going to traditional college. And I think once those things take root, it's gonna take us a bit, right? You know, we have a 5-year plan to move on. We're gonna see people attracted to the school district. So I don't wanna speak bigger than it would be, but I just wanna be future focused and be thinking
Yeah.
instead of,
But to Brian's question, our enrollments have increased every year. Pre-COVID, our enrollments have been increasing, haven't they?
well, it depends on the level. So we have had a height coming through elementary school, and then it started to dip in elementary, and that bubble went into high school.
Sure.
So we see the high school right now has increased enrollment, but what's coming behind it is a bit lower. I don't think that it will stay that way.
I have a question, Megan, on a future school.
Okay.
My understanding of state funds that fund these school projects, that they encourage consolidating schools. Is that correct?
I
I
definitely
just see
the
campuses,
state of Maine favors consolidation, and I think the whole notion of the McGraw-Weatherby project will be a win-win in that regard.
right, because I know Brewer did it. They got funded with state funds. I believe Corinth did it too, where the kids are all on one campus.
Well, when we went from SADs to RSUs, wasn't Hamden already in a good position because we had basically regionalized anyway?
We actually didn't have to change to an RSU until Frankfurt came in,
Right.
because we were in that good position.
I thought that was the case. I
Yeah.
went to a few of those meetings just to hear what the story was. But yeah,
I think this is kind of an important thing to consider, in that if this is to come to be, it would be so wasteful to not use this structure as a school.
well,
And-
yeah.
You know, to me, it's a lot like, you know, when you, middle of the summer, you go down a main street and they've newly hot topped it, it's beautiful. And then 2 weeks later, DOT comes in and digs it up because they needed to do something more to it, you know? It's kind of like planning ahead.
Okay.
And it seemed to me that if this is something that could be real, that maybe we think in terms of, we take the lower part and, you know, when that time comes, and then the school can be converted to a school.
Well,
It's an interesting
I might be speaking out of turn because I have no idea, but I think if that was to happen and you said, we're gonna go down here, build a fire station with a building on the side of it, big enough for the, you know, the offices and everything,
Yeah.
I think that our district would utilize this building sooner than later for something.
Right.
You know, we have pre-K now, I don't even know, but I'm certainly would utilize it, or share it, somehow use it, you know.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
big step. I mean, the town did vote to take the building over, and I don't know
Yeah.
if they are set on it or whether
Right.
they're open-minded.
Well, I think that, like I said, I think that we have to have a public hearing and kind of throw out all these ideas that are going around. Because you're right, if we own the land and you guys come back 10 years down the road and say, I won't be here, I guarantee you, but you come back 10 years down the road and say, we really need that building back to use.
But look what a school would bring to us, too.
Yes,
you know, remember the
exactly.
good
That's
old
where I
days
was
and-
going with
It would
this.
be
I
really
think
nice to
everybody,
have the school back.
That would
it
be
would,
nice.
it would be
And
awesome.
to Cindy's point, which I think is very, very important, you can't have the school district say, hey, we're gonna put your school in, and then 10 years later, pull up stakes again.
Yeah.
I just, yeah,
Well,
that concerns me.
and I don't think it would
because-
ever look like what we think of Newburgh School. It wouldn't ever be
No,
a
it would be a
8 to 6
satellite of
or-
something, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
We would not have our
Exactly.
school.
It wouldn't be traditional
It's
1975
gonna be bringing
school.
those
Yeah.
outside entities, special ed,
Right.
It could be.
pre-K,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Keith, we're not
Which-
that old, 1975.
We've had some very interesting ideas floated around about programs that the district could develop to really help develop trades and I think that this school, for instance, just an idea that was floated to me was making this an agricultural center to teach students about different angles of, no, it wasn't.
I'm sorry. It was way too fitting.
But actually, I can hear you, I can see them putting their own version of a UTC here.
Yes,
Actually.
yes,
Something like that in this
Well,
town
it
would be
would
Wood
awesome.
shop,
It would be
welding
awesome.
It would.
shop,
I won't
which
argue
would be
that.
great,
yes.
Yeah.
which would be
Exactly.
great.
So it's really just keeping our lines of communication open, the options open.
Okay.
When this idea came up about the land, I just wanted to make sure it got back to you as soon as possible. I realized the time crunch about a decision. If we
Right.
could hit a compromise, that would be great.
Okay.
But I love the public hearing idea. I'd like to sit with Cindy and go through the checklist that I'm required to do for the school closure
Okay.
referendum and just work in tandem so that we get
Yeah.
a schedule to you.
Sure.
It will go in November to the school board, as I said, to vote. So tonight we have a meeting and I'm introducing to them that this is coming.
Okay.
And I actually think our intention is to build our Hamden-based campus because that one building makes a lot of sense,
Mhm.
but there's more to come in RSU22. And I do think our community is growing, no
Mhm.
doubt about that. Just go to Dysart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, so you guys will be in touch?
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
that kind of thing?
I'm hoping that if not our November meeting, but maybe another meet in the middle of November, because I have the numbers for, the expenses of the building.
Okay.
I have to get back in touch with the insurance company as far as, because once the switch takes place, we will have to insure the building where they do the insurance right now. So, and hopefully,
You don't see any issue with the continuance of pre-K here?
No.
and-
No, I don't see any issue with that at
No.
all, no. I think it's wonderful to see those little guys out there.
And that's a good
Honestly.
thing, because, I
We
mean,
appreciate it.
you know, you take a lot of those people might not travel to Hamden if they had to take their kids in there,
Right,
so it's a good thing
exactly.
for Newburgh.
No, I
the
mean-
champion thing was, I mean, we miss them so bad, it's so quiet here,
It's
Yeah.
great
you know,
to have.
that, you know, it was a really nice thing to have them here, and as busy as it was, you know, and a lot of the parents liked it, because, you know, they from Newburgh.
Well, this is a pretty little campus too.
Yes,
You know,
it
they
is.
have a nice playground, they have a nice area. You walk through the gym and there were tubs of Legos, it was kind of nice.
You didn't step on
Is-
it.
Is your involvement in this trades education, is that just kind of getting off the ground, or is this in the works a bit?
Well, I happen to be the superintendent representative to UTC right now.
Okay.
And so I go monthly to meetings and I meet with the director once a month personally. And so we're starting to talk about the money that's flowing from the state right now for grants for middle school development of trades. And we really want to integrate this. As you can think about Reedsbrook and Wagner School, there's not a whole lot of space in those schools right now for us to develop the programming space, but we want to think about what is it we need access to in order to get it off the ground. And then we're going to apply for grant money.
Good.
So I think 2 years out,
I think that's a great idea.
There's such a
I-
need for the trades.
it's,
Yeah.
I
it's,
think that's awesome.
I cannot tell you, going to these UTC meetings, the success of our students in that environment
Oh,
is
yeah.
off the charts.
Yeah.
And I would like to promote that more children are choosing that path, starting in 7th or 8th grade, and knowing that when they get to the high school, we're going to make your schedule work so you can get to UTC.
Yeah.
Or we're going to offer in some ways to bring programming to our schools where we have space and be a satellite program for UTC.
Right.
And there are other schools that want to do this as well.
And we can only see it all growing, I mean, kids
Yeah.
need to come out of school job ready, or, you know,
Right. Or at least interested in pursuing that area. I
Right.
mean, there's so much, speaking as a parent who had a kid who did not like to learn sitting at a desk,
Mhm.
two complete opposite children, he had to pick something up.
Yes.
And once he got into a school where he picked something up, he did very well. He graduated from MMA, as did his son. But Caleb did not like to sit still at a desk and do that. It just killed him. I barely got him through high school.
We see the engagement just flip
Yeah.
when they get over to UTC.
Yeah.
And so the programs they're offering there, it's amazing, and they are maxed out. They have waiting lists in almost every single one of their
Perfect.
programs.
Good. We can start a little concrete training.
Yeah, there, well, come talk to me.
Yeah. But I mean, it's so up here right now, but
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
know.
yeah.
It's encouraging though. You
Yeah.
get excited about it. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you both for coming out.
Thank you.
You're
I hope that
welcome.
answered all the questions and
Yes, and I know what you need.
Well,
And
let's-
the roof report, it's not for lack of trying. Right now, I've got a situation where we're just trying to get the historical report so you can see where the
okay.
patches have been done in the past and where the original roofing was done, so we'll have that to you.
All right, great. Can we, we'll let you guys know when we have a public hearing?
Yes.
I mean, that might be interesting to have, be nice to have you guys both there as soon as
Certainly.
possible.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
All right. Gary Ellen.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.